Well, hello there. You are just in time for NTV at 1, this third day of July 2020. My name is Zeynab Ismail. We have all the stories that are making headlines across the country and beyond. Now, shareholders of national flag carrier Kenya Airways will be unable to transact any business on their shares following the company's suspension from trading on Friday morning. The suspension comes on the back of the publication of the National Management Aviation Bill 2020 on 18th June and is the clearest indication of plans to renationalize the airline after years of losses. The suspension was approved and issued by the Capital Markets Authority and will last until the end of September this year. Kenya Airways has 5.68 billion shares issued at the Nairobi Securities Exchange with a market capitalization of 21.8 billion shillings. Meanwhile, Cabinet Secretary for Interior Dr. Fred Matiang'i has vowed to maintain the fight to streamline the betting industry in the country. Matiang'i says that while he respects the decision made by Parliament regarding the reduction of taxes in the industry, the ministry would be seeking an amendment after 6 months. He further points out that its biggest challenge was the licensing of questionable farms.
We want sanity to prevail in the country. That thing was very badly managed in the past. It almost destroyed our families and our children. We will not go back to it. And under no circumstances we are going to allow that kind of madness to continue. We cannot allow, criminals, money launderers, from some places in Eastern Europe to come and do in our country what they can't do in their country.
And President Uhuru Kenyatta has warned against politicization of misuse of funds meant for the Kazi Mtaani Youth Employment Program. Speaking during a meeting with the National Government Administration officers on Thursday, President Kenyatta said beneficiaries should be identified purely on merit. Following the successful pilot phase of the program, which supports the youth whose livelihoods had been disrupted by the COVID-19, the second phase will be rolled out next week.
This is not a process of trying to get kura for one person, one MCA, one MP, one whoever. No. This is a process of ensuring that we assist the most vulnerable in our society during this particular period. And those must be the people. And I will follow very closely because this is something that is very close to me, it's very dear to me. As I've said, I've seen its impact on the lives of young people, especially here in Nairobi. And that is the same that I expect to see across the country, the impact being felt by those young people.
Well, Deputy President William Ruto has appealed to Kenyans to shun tribalism, saying it poses a huge risk to the unity of the country. Ruto has urged Kenyans to focus on their respective occupations for the collective success of the country. Now, in order for the country to thrive, the Deputy President further notes that every Kenyan deserves the opportunity to realize their dreams and aspirations to better their lives. He spoke at his current residence during a meeting with Nairobi County youth and women groups. He has also urged the youth to work hard to realize their dreams.
Nobody is waiting for anything on a silver platter. Everybody wakes up early, works long hours, sleeps late, because their hustle must put food on their table.
Meanwhile, a section of political leaders drawn from the Jubilee Party have condemned the Inspector General of Police for failing to end police brutality as lives continue to be lost in the hands of the police. The leaders spoke at a memorial held in honor of 3 people who lost their lives during last week's altercation with police officers.
It is the memorial service for the 3 departed souls. Locals here say the 3 were shot dead by the police last week. Lazarus Tirop lost his life after he confronted a police officer mishandling a resident for failing to wear a mask. Witnesses say he was shot and died on the spot. Timothy and Cornelius were shot dead during demonstrations over the death of Lazarus Tirop. Some politicians attended this memorial service at the heart of Olesos area, Nandi County. They blamed the police for the 3 deaths.
Namwambia Inspector General wa Police, there is rot in the police system. How can you shoot somebody kwa sababu, yani hii yote inaanza kwa sababu mtu hajavaa mask?
Ile madharau na pressure police wako naye hapa chini ni kwa sababu pia kule juu kuna madharau.
Chama cha mawakili yani LSK imesema kwamba itafuatilia haya mambo mpaka tuone kwamba haki ikamilike na haki ifanyike.
The late Lazarus Tirop died at the age of 39. Timothy Kipiego and Cornelius Kosgei were in their 20s.
We will follow until justice is done for these innocent souls.
According to the Deputy IG, thorough investigations are ongoing on the role police played in the death of the 3 residents of Olesos. Lois Wangoi, NTV, in the county of Nandi.
Now, the police force has been on the receiving end of criticism due to reports of excessive use of force. It may be easy to reduce the police force as a broken system, but they are humans. Debala Inair reports on an initiative to support the police by hearing them out. Take a look.
There is no doubt the dangers the police encounter in trying to serve the nation. The pressures of law enforcement and its attendant psychological toll puts officers at the risk of varied health challenges, including paralyzing depression and suicide. This informed the counseling program for security officers launched in Trans Nzoia County today.
One of the causes of stress is family issues. So some of the officers, ile issues wako nazo si za kazini lakini ni za family. Other issues ni finance issue. Kama unajua kwamba kila mtu sasa ako na loans, ako na mambo mengine, so issue related to finances also are a cause of stress.
Could this be an explanation for the police brutality meted out on Kenyans? Certainly no excuses can be accepted, but why will those tasked with protecting citizens punish them instead? Could the counseling cancel these incidences?
Ingekuwa imekuja zamani kidogo, maybe yale mambo tumeyaona hayangekuweko, lakini kwa sababu haya ni maisha na tunaishi vizuri, tutaendelea na wakati huu ndivyo tunachukua hiyo na tuweze kuzuia mambo kama yale yalitokea hapo awali kutokea mbele yetu.
This exercise that will see security officers undergo counseling sessions periodically to improve their morale in work perhaps may go a long way in improving their relationship between the public and the police. Debala Inair, NTV.
All right, let's take a short break here on NTV at 1. We still have a lot more we've lined up for you. Stay with us.
My father worked hard, and he made sure I did too. Because of him, I studied every day, and I did well. He helped me start my first business. It's only now I understand. My father always had big dreams for me. And now, my dreams are the same as my father's.
In 175 years, we've learned that times change, but what matters never will.
It's not been the same since schools closed. To face exams and not be fully ready for them. The worry of lagging behind in studies. It's not the same to teach them from home when all they want to do is play. Tufungue njia elimu iendelee with free access to KICD approved content with Safaricom Digital Learning and Shupavu 291 from home.
students in primary and secondary school can keep up with their studies from home. Unlock free access to KICD-approved content learning and revision material from home with Safaricom Digital Learning and Shupavu 291 today. Dial star 291 hash for more information. Tufungue njia elimu iendelee.
Dad, what's titration?
Remove of dirt from the water.
Dad, that's filtration!
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, the development agenda on infrastructure, health and education were among the key issues discussed at a meeting held earlier today between cabinet secretaries and a section of Murang'a County political leaders. A report is set to be submitted to the National Development Implementation and Communication Cabinet Committee. The meeting is in line with a number of high-profile visits to the central region ahead of a visit by President Uhuru Kenyatta.
We've discussed about water, we've discussed about laws, we've discussed about alcohol and other areas of mutual interest. And in particular, we've also discussed about health. And in particular, we've also touched on the commitments which the President has made during his previous visits to Murang'a County.
Soon enough, we will give you a report on the number of projects that have been completed and expenditures on projects that have worked very well as a result of these kinds of meetings. So we unlock challenges we have, disagreements we would have.
Now, Kirinyaga Deputy Governor Peter Ndamberi has accused Governor Anne Waiguru of using politics to evade accountability over the use of public funds. Now, speaking during a funeral service in Mwea, the Deputy Governor dared Waiguru to come clean and address issues raised by the County Assembly on misappropriation of funds in her office. He claims the governor has resorted to manipulation tactics against elected MCAs critical of her administration. Ndambiri, who has been at loggerheads with his boss since the County Assembly commenced the impeachment motion against her, urged MCAs to work without fear.
We should also be accountable to you. Na mtu akiulizwa swali kuhusu utumiaji wa pesa, either iwe ni baya ama ni nzuri, mtu anafaa kujibu. Kama ni mimi mnipatia kiti, muniulize kwa nini pesa imetumika hivi ya hii shule. Why shouldn't I tell you? I think I should be accountable to you because you are the voter. Si ni kweli hiyo? And I would want to say that we all belong to Kirinyaga and we shall live as Kirinyaga people. Si ni kweli?
Now, tea farmers from west of the Rift Valley region are demanding for the expansion of the 8-member team appointed by Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya to oversee the implementation of the tea regulation. Now, speaking after a closed-door meeting with the farmers from Kericho and Bomet counties, Governor Paul Chepkwony petitioned the government on behalf of the farmers, saying the region has only one representative in the task force, whereas it produces over 60% of tea in the country. Flanked by Kapsoit member of County Assembly Paul Cherchir, Governor Chepkwony said an expanded committee would ensure more inclusivity.
We are requesting that the CS do expand the current committee from 8 members, if it's possible, to about 11, because West of Rift supplies, produces about over 60% tea sales in the entire country. So we want to have membership commensurate to the volumes that this region produces.
The leading region is Bomet and Kericho, and together plus Nandi County contribute well over 60% of tea production in the country. Therefore, this request will ensure that the committee becomes more inclusive and accommodative, especially in the west of Rift, which produces well over 60% of the total tea in the country.
Now, with the counties still preparing their health facilities as required by the national government, Kiambu County received a financial boost to augment their fight against COVID-19. Britam contributed 500,000 shillings to the county's emergency fund. This follows an appeal by the county to individuals, corporate entities and other institutions to assist in the mobilization of resources. The financial contribution is in addition to the 15 million shillings the company donated to the National COVID-19 Emergency Fund last month.
Shillings 500,000, and they have promised that they will come back again. This is just a beginning.
As Britam, we've been at the forefront of working with the governments, like in this case, the county government of Kiambu. We're very pleased to come together, address the health issues, but also address the economic issues that have arisen out of this crisis. And we've also been working with the central government as well. We've worked with other counties.
What COVID-19 has done is to test our resilience, is to test how quickly we can be able to pick up our pieces and start to move again. And with your kind of support, it really supports us to move to the next level. The key thing really in this is to be ahead in terms of seeing where, although we don't know where the pandemic is going, but we've done the preparation initially, then we started doing the response. Now we are doing both preparation.
And 50 health experts have been deployed to 14 counties by the United Nations Development Programme as part of the joint UNDP-UNICEF-UN Women COVID-19 response programme in the country. The UN has spent 54.3 million shillings to train the 50 individuals in different medical fields, giving them the capability to form a formidable team with county medical staff in COVID-19 cases response, especially in the counties that are more vulnerable, such as Kajiado, Kakamega, Busia, Garissa, Machakos, Kilifi, Kiambu, Taita Taveta, Wajir, Kisumu, Migori, Mandera, Uasin Gishu, and Nairobi. The UN will be providing PPEs to volunteers for the next 6 months, as well as survival allowances.
The county governments and the other agencies, I must say all society, have worked very, very closely to make the fight against COVID-19 a success.
We know that the frontline workers are those that really are the soldiers, the true heroes of the COVID response.
Meanwhile, well-wishers around the country have continued to reach out to the vulnerable in the community, as well as those on the front line in the fight against COVID-19. Health workers at the Mbagathi Hospital received Unilever hygiene products considered essential in the fight. The products worth 500,000 shillings included soaps, sanitizers and bleach. More companies have been urged to help, especially those on the front line with protective equipment, which are still in short supply. Unilever staff have also donated foodstuff worth 500,000 shillings to mothers in Mukuru slums and to children living with albinism in Kibera and Kawangware.
It's really important that we stay vigilant. We haven't seen the peak of this disease just yet. We all know that livelihoods and lives are really, really important. And as we try and balance that, it is massively important that we look after ourselves, look after our communities, and make sure that we show the rest of the world that Africa is not a place that should be scared of coming to, but a place that can deal with this disease and hopefully come out on the right side of it.
All right, in other stories making headlines beyond our borders, Malians protested outside the Stock Exchange in Bamako for the release of opposition leader Soumela Sese, who was kidnapped by jihadists 100 days ago. Mali's government is facing a rising wave of protests, a development which is alarming the international community, keen to prevent the fragile West African state from sliding into chaos. Mali has been engulfed in conflict since 2012, when ethnic Tuareg militias and jihadists launched a rebellion in the country's north. President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta came to power in 2013 with hopes that he would turn the country around. But despite the presence of thousands of foreign troops in poor Sahel nation of some 19 million people, the conflict has only deepened. And Ivorian Prime Minister Amadou Gon Coulibaly, the ruling party's candidate in the October presidential election, arrived at Abidjan's airport after 2 months spent in France for heart problems. He was welcomed by President Alassane and members of the government. Now, after the closure of Ivory Coast borders due to the coronavirus pandemic, the 61-year-old Prime Minister, who had a heart transplant in 2012, traveled to France on May 2nd for medical care. Coulibaly was announced as the candidate for President Alassane's party in early March after Ouattara ended months of speculation and said he would not seek a controversial third term. Let's now take a look at stories making headlines in the world of sports. And Manchester City showed no mercy to the new English champions by thrashing them 4-0 at the Etihad Stadium. With the title secured a week ago, there was little at stake for Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool side, who showed far from their usual levels of intensity. But the loss, just the second of the league campaign, was an emphatic reminder but we're really sorry about what happened yesterday. That's all from us. My name is Zeynab. Do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.